Why am I not surprised? Why am I not surprised? So if you remember when we played in the Super Bowl 2 years ago, our practice field before we played the Super Bowl was flooded. It was messed up. There was problems. It was not okay. There was a lot of issues, right? The Rams practice facility when we played was fine. It was perfect. Everything was great. Ours was messed up though. We get to the Super Bowl and the field is slippery. Last year in the Super Bowl, the field's slippery again. And now, we have the Chiefs versus 49ers Super Bowl. And the Chiefs facility, usually it's rated 70 out of 100. It's an 80 out of 100. And the 49ers facility is dog crap. It's completely flooded. Let's react to this.
Have you seen this stuff about the San Francisco 49ers equipment crew potentially saying that the grass at the UNLV facility, which is beautiful. We've seen the photos of the new $230 million or $30-some million facility UNLV has. And the firmness of the natural grass is not exactly what the San Francisco 49ers want. And this was reported by Jonathan Jones of CBS Sports. And then there was another statement that came out basically from the NFL that was like, it's not.
All right, I'm going to read these statements out loud just to see exactly the context here. Sources tell CBS Sports some 49ers staffers are not pleased with the practice field, where the NFL designated the NFC champions NFC champion practice during Super Bowl week. Keep in mind, yes, the NFL dictates where you practice. This is why with our game, how our practice facility was messed up, the NFL said that's the facility you need to go to. At issue, source says, is the firmness of the natural grass the NFL has laid over the artificial turf ahead of the 49ers practicing there. And when I say flooded, what I mean by it is our actual facility, our field was actually flooded. But for their field, it's not technically flooded, but it feels like it's flooded. It feels slippery as anything. It feels like you're running and practicing on a body of water. That's why I said flooded. 49ers a 49ers advanced group that includes members of the equipment staff and grounds team traveled to Las Vegas last year to check out the facilities. They felt the grass is too soft for the team to practice on, and the team has considered alternatives, sources say. 49ers players and coaches have not yet visited the field, having just arrived in Las Vegas Sunday around 6:30 p.m. local time. They are scheduled for a walkthrough there on Monday afternoon. Sources said that this is not a health or safety issue as much as it is simply a preference issue. Sources say the current service of the UNLV meets all NFL and NFL Player Association's independent standards. Among the tools the league uses to make sure a field is up to code is the Clegg test, which measures a field firmness. NFL fields have to be at or below 100 grams to pass. According to sources, the natural grass at UNLV measures around 50 grams, whereas the 49ers have a preference around 70 grams. The 49ers have three options as it stands Monday ahead of the walkthrough. They can A, go about their business and practice on the field as scheduled, bring in a new, firmer sod that would, in theory, be ready for practice this week, or C, negotiate with the NFL to practice at the Las Vegas Raiders practice facility where the Chiefs are located this week. So, the Chiefs are practicing at the Raiders practice facility. They get the Raiders' actual practice facility, and the Niners have to go to another place. Favoritism.
Issue for the San Francisco 49ers. Is this all just a bunch of bullshit here, Super Bowl week? And do you think this is actually going to be an issue with the Niners and where they're practicing at all week?
Well, I can tell you, having spoken to various Niners people already, they don't seem particularly pleased. Now, they're going to be on the practice field for the first time today at noon Pacific, but there already have been complaints that there are seams in the practice field, that it feels like they're walking around on a sponge. I guess the NFL last week laid sod on top of the field turf, and this has nothing to do with UNLV. UNLV is kind of an innocent bystander in this, and the league has rules or bylaws or procedures that are set up that call for the Super Bowl practice fields to be checked out and mandated by December. And last week they're laying the turf on there. Now, the league is saying it's not a player's safety health issue, not in violation, all those things. That's fine. I can tell you the Niners are not happy with the practice conditions of that field that the league is in charge of maintaining. And they feel like it's a disadvantage right now. That's my daughter.
Superstar! Superstar!
Yeah.
And it is a disadvantage. I mean, you have one team that's practicing on a great field, one team that's practicing on, as they called it, a sponge field, or as I called it, a flooded field. You're not able to get fully practice. Now, is this a big impact in the game? In my opinion, yes, because obviously you practice makes perfect. You practice all week, you get ready, and then you play in the game. If you're not able to practice correctly, then it's going to be a huge problem overall-wise.
There you go. Happy. Anyway, they're not happy about having to practice on this field. And so the Chiefs are practicing at the Raiders practice facility. Now, there are scores that are assigned to practice fields, and the average score should be in the mid to high 70s. And the Raiders practice field, where the Chiefs are practicing, is at an 80. And the Niners believe that their practice field, that the average score is in the 50s.
So, the Niners practice field is a 50. And the Raider and the Chiefs practice field for this Super Bowl is an 80. Something does not add up here. Something is not adding up here in any way possible.
So they feel like it's a hazard and a disadvantage. Now, they're going to step on the field today. We'll see what the players say, but they're not happy about where they're practicing, I can tell you.
I mean, that's definitely a disadvantage. You can't tell me that, again, like our Super Bowl, randomly the field just gets messed up. And by the way, if you want to check out my channel or check out any other video about it, the Sod Father, the guy who's called the Sod Father, he is the guy who laid down all the grasses or he worked on all the grasses for every single Super Bowl. I think he retired last year. But it was from last year's Super Bowl all the way back, and I'm talking about all the way back, to like Super Bowl 3, Super Bowl 2. He worked on all the grasses. And all those grasses he worked on, he said that the worst he's ever seen was the Bengals one, and it was the Chiefs versus Eagles one. And he also talked about how it was really weird because the Bengals-Rams Super Bowl, he had to contact the NFL because he's like, hey, listen, this field is flooded. It's flooded. You can't practice on it. And the NFL pretty much ignored him and did not want to hear anything about it. So, talk about there's not biasy.
It's a Super Bowl. It's the highest level. We're the NFL. We're making billions of dollars. We're the two teams that are going to be in front of 120 million, we'll say 130 million people on Sunday. They feel as if they should have the best of the best, which only makes sense. And obviously, turf has been the topic of conversation over the last few years. How does this get fixed? Will the Niners bring in different turf? Will they find a different place to play? Or do they just kind of have to shut up and deal with it regardless?
I think there are a couple of options that are being discussed. I think, the Niners would prefer to stay at UNLV. I think that the league may wind up offering that somehow they share practice times at the Raiders facility, but that becomes an inconvenience. You don't want it to continue to uproot and move around. And again, that'll be up to them to decide. It'll be up to the league to see if it can address it in an appropriate way. I think that we haven't heard the last of it, and let's see how the Niners react once the players take the field. But again, like I was told, there are seams on the practice field, and it feels like they're practicing on a sponge surface.
It's the highest level, Shefty.
Come on.
It's the highest.
And that's the sad part, too, is this is the highest level. This is the Super Bowl. This is the dance of all dances. This is the most highest money revenue you can possibly get the whole entire year for the NFL. And you simply cannot get this correct. And this is not a first time issue. It happens pretty much every year now, where it seems like one team gets shafted when it comes to their practice facility going into these Super Bowls. And it's just, why? Why is that the case? How can you make so much money in the NFL and you can't get this right? I'm not even going to say this is because it's rigged for the Chiefs. And I've not said that one time in this video. I know Chiefs fans are going to get so upset saying, I did not even say it was rigged. But they're going to automatically get upset thinking I said it was rigged. I think is the NFL has some biases. That's what I think. Very much biases in this game. Peace out.